Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Let's go ahead first and take a deep breath. And let's think about the children all around the world who need our help and our healing. And let's take another deep breath. And one more deep breath. And so be it. Lots of love and blessings out to all of you, and thank you all for joining me today. I have a really amazing message of the day that came up today, this morning. We're going to roll the dice first, and I'm going to show you the pictures as well. Yesterday, there were 2 blue jays in my tree in the front yard playing with me. They were so funny looking at me. I have a few pictures to show you of that. They were so beautiful, and I might see a blue jay in the beginning of the spring, and I see cardinals more often, but I don't usually see the blue jays come around. So it was really a treat to have both of the blue jays there as a couple in my front tree yesterday. And so let's see what's coming up with the die for the twins today. We have the number 9, which is all about compassion and completion, endings, universal selflessness. The 9, the collective consciousness. And we have Aquarius here as well. And also that can represent water flow as well as mountains, right? The mountains and the valleys. And then we have Uranus here as well. And Uranus and Aquarius go together. So we also have the 9 which is the Hermit. So Aquarius and Hermit are very strong here today, which are, they're kind of an unlikely combination, Virgo and Aquarius. So we'll see how that comes up with air and earth, as well as that universal love of the Aquarius energy and the going within of the Hermit. All right, so the collective and the Hermit. Okay, I'm trying to get myself settled here just a little bit. Okay, the pictures. All right. So first I have here I have actually 2 union reads for the collective. I did a 4, 5, 6, and 3, 4, 5D read. This is the first one. This is 4D, 5D, 6D, 4D, 5D, 6D, feminine on the left, masculine on the right. The bridge between in the middle. Yep. The incoming divine feminine, outgoing divine masculine, underlying energies and closing energies here. And again, this is a good way of monitoring where your energy is. Are you at the 4D, 5D, 6D energy, if at all? Are you more in the 3D? In the next page, we'll show you that. Are you more on the feminine side here with these energies, or the masculine side with these energies? And then here's the 3D, 4D, 5D, which is very colorful. Okay, we have the twin flames here and the lovers, as well as the Knight of Cups in the middle of the read. So this is a really beautiful read. And then we have the read in front of you, the more general energy read, as opposed to the union energy for the physical union for the twins. This is again the Syrian Starseed deck, and then the 7 deck read in front of you is here. For those of you not familiar with my reads, it is a 7 deck read, which is a lot of energy on the table. If something doesn't resonate with you, don't force it to fit. And if you want something more specific to you, you can check out my information below, as well as on my website, twinflames3344.com. I have a CD out there also called Ashes, Twin Towers to Twin Flames by Evelyn Stainthorpe, if you want to check that out. And here's the message of the day. All right, it's in 2 parts, this page and then this section over here. Okay, and the message of the day, I usually do the Animal Spirit deck, the Lenormand Reverie, the Gilded, and then the Kipper deck. So here is the masculine blue jay, right, that was visiting me yesterday. And there he is flying. Look at his beautiful colors, showing off his beauty, right? And he knew I was watching him because he had looked at me through the window. I'll show you that picture as well. And look at that. Looks like he's a ghost. That's the same blue jay. How cool is that? So there's a few of these pictures. Okay, so you look like a ghost there. And then this is the feminine blue jay from the grass flying back to the tree, like they're jumping for joy. And then this is the one before that where she looks like an angel, literally. And then we have the two of them. You can see them here and here. She's over here and he's over here. And then we have, she's there in the tree. And then she's looking over at him, to see what he's doing over here. So here's, look at, they're holding something in their mouth and he's looking at me. Sorry, the pictures aren't great, but it was through my window. So, and look at this one. It looks like this is actually like a girl or a boy in a blue outfit here. Like with the top there's, with white hair up here and a face. You see that? And then here we have the blue jay on my walk, looking at me like, what are you looking at, Willis? He was really funny. And there's a little bit closer view of him. What are you doing? And this was the other. There's actually two of them that came around there. And there's the other one hiding in the grass. So just sharing a little bit of my day from yesterday. I was so excited to see them. Okay, also Dante came up today, so there'll be a poem coming up a little bit later. And let's go with the message of the day. Today is the 23rd of October. 23 is the King of Wands. The day adds up to 38, which is the Queen of Cups. So very much, a lot of energy came up, I think, between the Queen of Cups and King of Wands today, actually. So it's very much the energy of the passionate masculine and the feminine who's kind and intuitive, very loving. And actually my delphinium plant that was out front, that wasn't doing so great anymore out there, although it was regrowing, I put in my son's room in the back, so I get more sun in the back to see if they'll survive over the winter. And she really seems to like it back there, so we'll have to see. I'll let you know about that. I don't know how much delphiniums are good indoors, but I'm going to find out. The message of the day was done at 10 on the dot, so a lot of zeros behind the 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune, a turn for the better, that high vibration trill of the 1010, which is also computer code, and then to 1002. So going from the magician energy to the feminine high priestess energy, the masculine to the feminine. And the message of the day was the underlying energy of the moth, the letter, the 7 of Wands, and bad health. So unable to hold back, drawn to the light, new passion for writing, or writing to new passion, standing up for self to those in bad health, or conflict or healthcare industry issues. The Black Panther is trying to scare the lamb, the lizard, and the bat, but actually they're trying to warn them of the lizard between them infiltrating, with the lamb an easy target and the bat lost in space at a crossroads with the tarantula, who looks scary but isn't, and a wolf stunned into submission, with the lamb, the bat, and the moth that's drawn to this light, but not the lizard and tarantula, and now seeing the difference between them, or in them. The high priestess is lucky with clover or 3 to 4 wishes on the fool's journey of Titanic staircase in the end. So I don't know if you remember in the movie at the end, after they'd all died and they come back to Titanic where all the dead people come up as she climbs the staircase towards him in heaven, basically. And so that's that same energy as Spirit's connecting with me. So there's more about the Titanic story here, so pay attention, you'll like this. The high priestess lucky with clover or 3 or 4 wishes on the fool's journey of Titanic staircase in the end, to the Knight of Cups at the top of the stairs, the 39 of the Knight of Cups. The gambler at the top, peeling back the layers to come back together. All in a letter they wrote of new passion, or a sealed photograph that said it all. Sliding down the ship's hull to the center of gravity, the weight of the pull and the vacuum created in one final push, like a birth, the feeling of needing to withhold, and then finally birthing with a mighty roar or rebel yell. Hell yeah, I did this. The finial, which is the end, the top, the peak, the foliage, the ornament, the pinnacle, the icing on the cake, the finishing touch. Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you. Go on. And so on. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. So however the tune goes, but once more you open the door and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. Love can touch us one time and last for a lifetime. Never let go till we're gone. Love was all when I loved you. One true time to hold to. In my life will always go on, near and far, wherever you are. I believe that the heart does go on. And of course, this is Celine Dion, and the lyrics were on lyricsondemand.com. You're here, there's nothing to fear, and I know that my heart will go on. Will stay forever in this way. You are safe in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. As the Queen of Pentacles is upright here, in need of peace, with the Emperor at night, or Aries in Cancer, in jousting match of Olympic or Titanic proportion, standing up to the crowd and lighting the torch. Opening ceremony, let the games begin at 10:25, which is 2 days from now. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, 25 is the Knight of Wands. So again, we're at 10:23 today. So after new passion of unexpected income, which income can be incoming, message of a higher love, and the journey of despair, the King of Wands to the courthouse, where remember Jack went to jail on the ship, and the main female, the wise privileged lady, exposed as a false person, running around with Jack below deck of a coffin, which the ship was, sunshine, exposure, and water or emotions getting in and weighing the ship down to an early grave in the dance of romance at 10:36, which I got a lot of connection right there too. So the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 36 of the Atlas energy of the weight of the world as the ship goes down. The dance of romance, the tango, the little girl of the moon, or the subconscious, the romantic one, occupied by energetic exchange and sowing the seeds of love together, a piece of muslin as together with fine silk, woven together, planning fashion or to be fashionable, and then an illness or caregiver role comes forth. Then suddenly roles switch. The elite becomes the aide or patient, and now the one who cares for now gets cared for. Drawn to poetry of the underdog who finally triumphs and then at the end gets sick all of a sudden and never gets to reap the rewards, to play in it, which happens a lot, right? With our parents, you know, they finally retire and then they get sick or they die suddenly. And after a long career, perhaps, that they didn't really like, but they did it for the family, right? They weren't doing it from their heart. They were doing it for you in their heart, but not loving the work that they were doing. So when the 10:25 came up, as in 2 days, let the games begin, it was bringing back the message I'd gotten the past couple of years regarding the 11:11 being the 11, the 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, 1 hour energy of 4-4 to 5-5. So when I went back to the 4-4 to 5-5, because the initial energy I was getting was like a honeymoon period for the twins from 4-4 to 5-5, a year and a month, the 1-1-1-1, prior to the Olympics. And then that year the Olympics didn't happen. So then it was like the next year, which made more sense because in 2000, last year actually, or this year, May 5th was actually 555 because we're in 2021, which is a 5. So this year, 555, they were taking me back to that, was marking the end of that period from 444 last year to 555 this year, but they were actually taking me to the pattern of that started back in 2016, which was a 9. So the 9 portal of 9/9, 2016, you might want to go back and check these days in your notes to see what happened those days. So September 9th of 2016, which is the 999, and then going to January 1st, 17, February 2nd, 18, March 3rd, 19, and so on. 4/4/20, 5/5/21, and then in 22, it's 6/6/6, which according to Cryon is actually the 3 6s of the DNA, the first 3 groups, and then the Godhead is the 4th group of 6. The 6, the 15, the 24, and then the 33, which is the Christ vibration. So 6/6/2022 may be a very significant date here. And I'm getting that we're past the opening ceremonies, let the games begin. And this is going to be like I'm getting now through 2025 actually. And what's to the 21? So this is I feel like this is the 4-year period. Not, some people have talked about 20 to 24, but I'm getting now to 25 that we had an opening ceremony. It's like the transition period, like they talk about after passing 2012, that 13 wasn't the first year, that 13 was like the opening ceremonies type of energy, and then 14 was the year 1, and Cryon talks about that a lot. So I'm getting that same energy here, where the 4/4 to 5/5 of 20 to 21 was that opening ceremony type of energies, whereas now we're going into the 4-year period of the Olympics, okay? So at 10:25, which is 2 days from now, there might be something that comes up on the 25th too about this. New passion of unexpected income or incoming message of higher love and the journey of despair, the King of Wands to the courthouse or Jack to jail. So we talked about all this, of sewing the muslin of the poor boy to the fine silk woven together, right, of the wealthy girl. And then switching places and the whole process of what happened on the Titanic. So we're going to go into this a little bit further. We start here with the dolphin pile, drawn to the poetry of the underdog who finally triumphs and then gets sick and never gets to reap the rewards to play in it. So this is I feel like this is like giving back to those, right, as the ancient ones, right, as the templates of Mary Magdalene and Jesus. The first, and the 144 and all of that energy, the first pile here is the dolphin with the hawk, the frog, the fish, and the octopus. And they're all water animals, or fish rather, but the hawk is in there too. So the friendly dolphin's coming up in waters and the hawk in the air, clearing both levels as frog and the fish and the October teacher without longevity, because after all, octopus struggle to survive because they die at birth, when they give birth. The dolphin is number 25 here, and there's the 25 coming up, the Knight of Wands. Passionate commitment to those around them, and detoxing chaos, which came up with Get Smart in 99 yesterday, because the 2 groups were contract, was their agency, and the enemy was chaos. And so the Knight of Wands, passionate commitment to those around them, and detoxing chaos, which, right, Max Smart's coming up here, with thoughts of a woman. Happy-go-lucky, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Scorpio energies here, with the hawk facing the cold winter ahead, with the polar bear pushing a hole in the ice, or dark mother, or pushing their agenda, dissatisfied with courtship, with the emperor of mother's choosing, the frog in the rain, with the mother cracking the whip, for him to work with or for the mother, the injustice of the mother, or justice of love and lover, with the fish unstoppable, unsinkable Molly Brown, unable to slow down, wanting to save the whole family, for all of them to be free, not just the ones that got out in the boat, suffering in silence or a sister or on the journey together, taking the train from now on, not getting on a boat anymore. The octopus teacher, cool hand Luke, with spirited union and peace. After all, the octopus gives birth and dies, and looking back at the journey of the official person and her journey back to him as an old woman. Then we have the second pile of the eagle and the rabbit. After the hawk cleared the landing strip, the eagle comes in aggressively with abundant energetic exchange, swimming with the fishes under the radar, wanting to grab one for their own, but the ship with nothing to float the boat. When he finally lands, all the water is gone. On money and diamond, all of it fell into the sea. What lies beneath of interest to the main male, right? And we're still paralleling the Titanic, right? The guys who actually went out in the ship to research about the Titanic and find the gold and find all the treasures. The curious little bunny with gifts they hide, lacking faith, falling, embarrassing self, disgrace, the fear of the main male within him. The 1100 here with the, I'm just getting the 1100 club. Double zeros, source energy backing up the 11 of justice for all and all for one. So at 1101, as I turn the page, I start with the bunny, but then I was getting Honey Bunny from the Thieves. And why can I can never remember the name of that movie. No matter how much I try. I do have a damaged brain from my concussion getting hit by a car when I was jogging in 16. Talk about 16, that's when I got hit by a car. But Honey Bunny's coming up, afraid to show their gifts for fear of the eagle zoning in and taking them from them. But the hawk cleared the way so the eagle could dive and get over his fear of intimacy and love. So here's the parallel of the guy who's going out to fish the treasure. So it's like Jack coming back as this man going back to find his treasure. All right, so but the hawk cleared the way so the eagle could dive, he's the eagle, and get over his fear of intimacy, because after all, that if he loved her, he will die or freeze to death, but his love would go on. He was Jack's way of coming back to her, to undo the knot and allow her to drop the blue diamond heart. He is the deep diver, and you see with your eyes, your emotions, and your heart, and the Christ unity consciousness, that Atlas becomes the magician, or the map to the treasure. The third section here is the tiger, the Bengal tiger, the gazelle, and the bee. The black and white in living color, the tiger stalks, the gazelle on the Serengeti, or perhaps the jetties, while the busybody bee watches in neutral energy. The tiger, the twin flame loving man, with graceful star and sudden event, epiphany, or energetic exchange, that they are the neutral bee, watching as the wise counsel, the wise old owls, the grounder and the flyer hanging out together, he going crazy and coming out with the chariot's message, where she is in need of the truth of the King of Cups, little boy of poverty, but I was just getting poetry, or lack, that she adds the 3 to his 7, which is the chariot, 3 is the Empress, becoming the 37 of unconditional love, the King of Cups. Impatient to have a home together, or empty nesters, completion, coming full circle. The fourth pile here is the snake, the owl, the shark, and the whale, the collective awakening with guides. But the shark, which then came up the shake, so there could be a shakedown here, but the shark in the water with vulnerable whale on the raft without a lifeline, waking up to greed and selfishness and fear, as the divine masculine has wounds of sacrificing his life for hers, as in Jack and Rose. Jack and the beanstalk trades in for Rose and her thorns. As light awakens the collective and disperses the dark, the twin bridges are rickety as Wendy is windy around burned bridges with Peter pansexual with Tinkerbell whispering in their ear about a house and a child, and a penny for your thoughts, as London Bridge comes falling down, and Twin Falls. The Page of Cups with key in sudden events, Scorpio or Scorpio season, of the wealthy man's transition, suddenly burning bridges with the collective, awakening to their crap. So there could be someone in high power who goes down, and actually Bill Gates comes up here in a minute. The Owl with key to their freedom, and dumping a load, or changes, dumping them all onto the Hermit in a one big purge, in a release of fluids, swelling, sweating it out, or collective purge or meditation of orgasmic proportions, as an elite gets taken down a couple of notches, as the owl unlocks the cage and suddenly breakups all over the place. Big sudden changes as the shark attacks the whale, or Power Man with a choice to make about the Queen of Wands reversed in adjudication or in court at 11:29, which is justice and being present in the moment, right? It can be waiting for your ships to come in, but it's also about being present in the moment and your gifts. Perhaps in court about a home and or union, and the whale who's exhausted, or the shark who's exhausting them of all their resources in a breakthrough of love, home, and family, and the Knight of Pentacles looking toward going back to work after first going back to the Queen of Wands reversed to finish up, or looking forward to being free from work, but first they must wrap things up there, and with the Queen of Wands reversed looking forward to the Queen of Cups upright, which could be Scorpio, either having to work for a change or looking forward to working with the Queen of Cups and take them away from all that hard labor. The whale with a breakthrough about hard-working, loyal Queen of Cups. There's Scorpio and Virgo and fire signs here, perhaps Cancer and Pisces too. Perhaps just as the shark attacks the vulnerable whale, the collective also attacks the owl, right? The guide, drains them, but not purposely. The crowning moment for the lovers, as the Knight of Pentacles is between the Queen of Wands reversed and the Queen of Cups upright, and which is which? At 11:37, Justice and the the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. The fourth section here is the fire ants, the horse, and the spider web, which I wanted to show you the energy here because it was very significant. These are these three cards that came up in this pile, and you see how they match, right? This is like dark and light. And for me, Mr. Ed Saggi is the God in between, the Godhead, right? So keeping this in mind, I'll try to hold this up while I read this. The entry wound, the drawing into it and pushing away. The water collects and then pops from pressure. The moment before the 11th hour, the orgasm, the release, is the after midnight hour. Mr. Ed, God, Source, Creator. Christos Sophia, Imana, Mother, Father. The spider in the web. The center of it all. 0 point. And the web can go out to infinity and beyond. The wound or sudden event or epiphany, or the entry wound, and the bliss are all one and the same. The collective one, expanding and contracting, inhaling and exhaling, light and dark, the space between, night and day, sun and moon, new moon and full moon. But what about the dawn and the twilight and the betwixt and the bewitched? The journey of the sun and the butterfly, and why would you close your eyes when there's all of this to see? Yet you don't even see it until you're hung on the cross, crossing your heart and hoping to die, sticking a needle or adrenochrome in your eye. The wise collective of birds gathering quietly for the show, the quiet before the storm, as the Page of Cups' innocent lamb makes their presence known to the Queen of Wands reversed thief. For Mr. Ed, the loving lady is the gift, the 5D connection, the focus on the broken heart of Pinocchio and married to the mob, or Geppetto about to have a heart attack over the abundance of this marriage and their relation to the mob, the crowd, the thief, who would take advantage of the twin flame, or he worried about her, or more so, the mother or mother-in-law and their expectations, the obligations to not only him or her, but to their families that come with them at 11:53. Which is justice and the Knight of Swords, the messenger of truth, but also the knight in shining armor, the catapult. The petty annoyances, the pests, the rugrats, pets, the mice, ants, thieves, spiders, and the King of Wands, which is the 23, which is today. She with faith, and he with a mess to clean up. But the worst is now over, and can see the end of the tunnel, knowing the bliss of the divine feminine, expecting them, yet without expectations. Again, all or nothing. As Jesus changes the story and leaves with Mary Magdalene, letting them clean up their own messes for once. The king and the queen go back to the green, but they can never go back there at all. Brenda and Eddie, Mr. Ed, be rendering, or with Brazilian ender, or riding bareback, is not what you think. It is the centaur. He is the center, the centaur, he and his lady. It was all inside him all along, the horse and Milady, right? Or Milady and the man and Milady, right? A man and his horse. No choice to make it all. They just are. One. Two as one. Mr. Ed and his lady in weight of his world. The fifth energy here, or the pile here, section, is the butterfly, the peacock, the star, the stingray, and the vulture. Transformation of the peacock star, plugged in, turned on, the whole chakra system activated, with cleanup crew nearby. The magnetic 1, plus 44, the grounding and integrating and mastering of the GIM details, the DNA, chromosomes, and genes. Gene and Genie, twin pairs, and 24, who's not of this world, starting over with house, with gate, final judgment, and pearly gates, a big house or the big house. If you don't want the fine, you must do the time. The pearl is the key to the gates, and takes time to go from infiltrator to pearl to gates, the will of Gates. So there's a reference to Bill Gates there. Peacock, wounded warrior, anchoring in, coming clean, getting clean, cleaning up their act or space, lost in space, and imprisoned at present, or with their gifts. So by the way, the energy of if you don't want to pay the fine, you got to do the time, was so weird, because then I was, Dante comes up, which happened to him. So just, trust what you're guided to and your instincts, because they are always guiding you. Your guides are always there, helping you put the pieces together. So here we are, cleaning up the actor space, lost in space, and the masculine keeps coming up as that, right? Lost in space, not sure how to keep grounded, perhaps, in wandering around, exploring the outer realms, and imprisoned at present, or with gifts. At 12:11 here, the 12 of the hanging man and the 11 of justice is the starfish, which is superficial, 2 as 1. The 24 comes up here. Or it's not what you think, because the starfish isn't the star. The starfish is, it seems like the star would be a lighter form of 2 as 1, as 24. Like the etheric realm, right? That the 24 is the 24th pair of chromosomes, but it's multidimensional, right? It's not necessarily seen in the 3D. There's surface oriented here, of bright and shiny, but that is the star in the air. But the starfish lives in the sea, in emotions, without much movement, seen and not heard, walking away from all they've put into their emotions here, into a path, or taking a hike. The Queen of Wands wounded warrior path, not yet ready for the fool's journey, just leaving the wounded warrior behind, and it takes some time to get over that. The stingray is the power woman present at the window and or with their gifts. The Knight of Wands is the activator of good fortune, or great fortune and inspiration, or the Page of Wands, or they won the Oscar here. But Oscar's a grouch. So even if he's worth his weight in gold, right? The vulture's ship is sailing as the power lady watches flights of fancy, spaceships, and ships that get stuck on a rock, like Titanic, leaving the man down on his knees, praying for the dark birds to go away, and growing old as a white-haired man of concern in martyrdom, but wanting unity after all. So again, the polarities of 2020, or 1220 rather, and then going into 1221. The culmination of 1221, the 12 of the hanging man, the 21 of the world and completion. And then breathe at 24. It's 2:40 on my clock, and it's 35:52 here, 35:53, they're telling me. All right, so the 2:40 is the High Priestess and the Page of Cups, right? Psychic abilities of the child, the innocent, but it's also the 24 of the Queen of Wands and the 0 backing that up. And then here we had the 35:53 of the Wounded Warrior and the Messenger of Truth, or Knight in Shining Armor, right? Back to back there. So breathe. For union home. For union home, the suffering and silence, the safety and security of the world, with heart open wide. So it's saying, breathe, just breathe at 12:21. For union home, safety and security of the world, to keep your heart open wide. Keep heart wide open in energetic exchange with the mature man who's now free from being the Knight of Cups for the whole community, or letting the younger generation now take over after life review of where he came from, or his inner little boy, Oliver, the orphan, who's excited to be part of a community of love. And cheers. Oliver is O and liver, the human condition of living in fight or flight. Anger that's absorbed by the liver, and time to detox that, to relax where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. No dinner gifts or parting gifts required, only the gift of the moment and to be inspired. At 12:26, the hanging man and the Page of Wands, that inspired little boy. And the crows were chatting outside right then. And then Dante comes up. So Dante Alighieri, born Florence. His mother died around age 10, and his father did remarry. This is about 1265 in Florence. He died September 14th, which is the day I actually married my children's dad. 9/14/1321, which is 1-3-2-1 jump. 9/14 is the Hermit and the Temperance of the angels, the higher love. And he was about 56 when he died. And there is a tomb of Dante, but that's not where he is in Florence, which I'll get to in a second. So, of course, he wrote the Divine Comedy. He fell in love at age 9 at first sight to Beatrice Portinari. However, at 12, he was promised to Gemma, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, di Marietto Donati. He never knew Beatrice well, though he saw her in the streets after he was an adult. He wrote about Beatrice, not his wife. Her family, his wife's family, he did use in the Divine Comedy. He was exiled from Florence in 1301 after having 3 kids with her. He fought with the Guelph cavalry in the Battle of Capaldino, which was June 11th, 1289, with reformation of the Florentine Constitution. And in order to be public back then, they had to enroll in some kind of city's artisan guild. So he chose Physicians and Apothecaries Guild. Then courtly love came up with Beatrice, but his expression of this courtly love was unique. Dolce stil novo, dolce stil novo, sweet new style that he coined. She is depicted as semi-divine, watching over him constantly, sound familiar, and providing spiritual and instruction, sometimes harshly. When she died in 1290, he sought refuge in Latin literature and in March of 1302 was exiled for 2 years with a large fine. So here comes, if you don't want to pay the fine, you got to do the time. And the reference number was coming up as 22, which is the Fool's Journey. It's like Jesus going out and doing the 40 days and 40 nights. And the 40 came up with the Page of Cups as well, with the 240 of the High Priestess. So because of a woman, the scent of a woman, they end up walking for 40 days and 40 nights, right? And then here is the exile of 2 years from March 1302. So it's supposed to be March till March 1304, which is funny because the time I started was at 204. So from 02 to 04, he was exiled for 2 weeks with that large fine. He was accused of corruption as the city prior, which I was getting the priory regarding that. But he was in Rome at the time, so they just told him to stay in Rome. He wasn't allowed back in Florence. He didn't pay, as all his assets in Florence had been already taken. If he returned to Venice, he would have been burned at the stake. In 1310, the Holy Rome Emperor, Henry VII at that time of Luxembourg, marched into Italy with 5,000 troops. So Dante connected with him to destroy his enemies. And then Lessons of Love came up, probably written around 1314 to 15. So there you have 13, 14, 15, which is the transition of the Death card, and then the 14 of the Temperance card, and then the 15 of the Devil. So the angel and the devil after the transition over. 1312, Henry defeated the Black Guelphs, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, with no evidence that Dulce was actually involved in the war. Henry VII died of a fever in 1313, and Dante lost hope of ever seeing Florence again. So he then went to Verona. In 1315, the military officer that was now controlling Florence granted amnesty to those in exile, but required penance and a high fine. His death sentence was would have been changed to house arrest if he went to Florence to swear he'd never return there, and he refused. So he refused the offer at that time. And then it's 1249 here, the Hanging Man and the Nine of Cups. He died in Ravenna, 9/14/1321, of malaria after having 3 kids. They think possibly his wife was present, as well as friends and admirers. So at 1250, which is the Hanging Man, and the 10 of Cups, which is that emotional fulfillment, the happy ending, at his grave, it says, Parvi Florentia Mater Amoris. So Florence, mother of little love, is stated on his grave, and that's where he died, not in Florence. So Florence many times has tried to get his remains for their tomb there. Florence's tomb is empty and states basically honoring the most exalted poet. In 1945, and this is all from en.m.wikipedia, 1945, the fascist government discussed taking his remains to Valtellina Redoubt, the Alpine Valley of the regime against the Allies at that time, that he should be present at the fascism's heroic end, right? Because he was against the government of Florence. So there's a copy of his death mask, or that was supposed to be his death mask, but wasn't, displayed since 1911 there. Palazzo Vecchio, 4/30/21, in honor of his 600th anniversary of his death. Pope Benedict XV quoted, of the very celebrated geniuses of whom the Catholic faith can boast, and the pride and glory of humanity. On December 7th, 65, Pope Paul VI blessed the iron Greek cross, or brought it, and it was a gift to the burial site in Ravenna for his 700th birth. The same cross was blessed by Pope Francis in October 2020, last year. And in 2008, Florence finally apologized for the exile of Dante 700 years ago. May 2021, his symbolic retrial was held virtually in Florence to clear his name. And they read the poem, Love in a Gentle, and then I was looking up some poems, and I have Love in a Gentle Heart. So I'm going to read that to you. It's not a long poem. Love in the Gentle Heart, and this is by Dante. Love and the gentle heart are one thing. Just as the poet says in his verse, and of course this wasn't written in English, so it may not come across the same way. Love and the gentle heart are one thing, just as the poet says in his verse. Each from the other one is well divorced as reason from the mind's reasoning. Nature craves love and then creates love king and makes the heart a palace where he'll stay, perhaps a shorter or a longer day, breathing quietly and gently slumbering. Then beauty in a virtuous woman's face makes the eyes yearn and strikes the heart, so that the eye's desires reborn again, and often rooting there with longing stays, till love at last out of its dreaming starts, woman's moved likewise by a virtuous man. Right, so there's Dante coming into this. So very much about Dante and Titanic today. And again, today's day energy is the King of Wands, the 23rd today. And 23, you know, we talk about the 23 pairs of chromosomes, but there's actually a 24th one that's etheric, it's multidimensional. And then we have the Queen of Cups. The day adds up to the 38, and she's very much all over the energies here today as well. So we're going to start with the two union reads. All right, so the first one was done for the 4D, 5D, 6D union read, and that was at 4:21 yesterday. The 4 of the Emperor, the 21 of the World, completion again. And 4 is not only the Emperor, but it represents stability and building and structure, but it also is survival on a 3D level, or in other words, survival, right? We're not here to just survive, we're here to dream and manifest and create, which is the 8 of manifesting our dreams. So the physical union of 4D, 5D, 6D, with the underlying energy being the higher self, the Page of Wands was in the middle, and then the 9 of Wands. Then the 9 of Wands was the final card of the read. I just want to plug my thingy in. Okay. The higher self is reading Akashic records here, sending flame to children and wounded warriors. Okay, so this is again going back, we're clearing a lot of sexual wounds here in Scorpio, which makes sense because Scorpio. Scorpio is considered one of the strongest signs, or the strongest sign, because it dives deep into the places where most people don't want to go, into the really deep, dark places of the deep shadow, right? The polarity of the dark. The higher self now reading Akashics, sending flame, sending your energy and healing to the children and the wounded warriors. The incoming divine feminine here is the 7 of Cups, Knight of Wands, and the 4 of Wands, spiraling up 2 by 2 to higher self, as the Bluejays were outside yesterday when I was doing this, on the stairway to heaven with synchronicities along the way. So remember, notice how close Bluejays is to Bluerays. Oh, by the way, there was an ambulance who parked in front of my house for no reason. I have no idea why they were there when the Bluejays were there too. And the ambulance, like, you know, is EV, like an electric vehicle, but Ev is my name as well. So that energy of fight or flight was coming up, and the Ev, because EV is the 5 and the 4, which is going from the 4 of stability to the 5 of excitement and change, the conflict. And of course, on an emergency truck is EMS and 911 and the asterisks. And the prefix of the phone number came up 358, which for me is all about grease lightning. 5 and 8 are considered grease lightning, the catapult, and we have the 3 as well, which is also significantly in that way. So the 3 and the 5 of the wounded warrior and the 5 of the 8, 5 to the 8 is the 4 of swords, the connection in the 5D between them, right? The peace between them, the meditation, the laying something to rest. It's also the 3 of the Empress, the 5 of the Hierophant, and the 8 of their dance. So spiraling up 2 by 2 to the higher self on the stairway to heaven with synchronicities along the way, like ambulances and Bluejay couple and conversation and another funny bird who was frolicking in the tree and looking at me funny, like, why don't you look at me, not them? The Knight of Wands up and down stairs and the home in the front yard, the drawbridge, or walking the plank where the rose bush is not in the right place to bring it to the entrance of the steps, showing royal colors today of blues and indigos, of Bluejays, and the orange-red smoldering towards 11/11, which is still in Scorpio season. It's just next month. And then I was reminded my son's birthday is on the 29th, so that's coming up as well. Very divine masculine energy. And then we have the 4D here of the Five of Wands transition in the King of Cups as the divine feminine's dealing with 3D stuff, multiple people of humid sun, perhaps, waves of flames, from the higher self to the throat chakra, to the solar plexus yellow again, to orange of the sacral chakra, creativity. The divine masculine with the King of Cups and unconditional love, reflection of eyes in pools of emotion, or welling up, bridging in transition to the light at the end of the tunnel, to the other side, and Scorpio energy today. All right, so we basically just entered Scorpio. The 5D here is the divine feminine hermit reflecting on steps, or perhaps looking for a blue feather, and the divine masculine taking on the world, ascending with the divine feminine and or Pisces and Scorpio here. Bridging in the Page of Wands, masked tribal, wild child with uncontrollable desires, unable to contain flame within, and Mary Magdalene. And the movies I watched last night were bringing up sexual addiction. So that's definitely being cleared this month in Scorpio. Let me just turn the page, see if I know what that was. I think I watched 2 movies yesterday. So Destination Wedding came up, as well as Thanks for Sharing, which was the sexual addiction movie. But the Destination Wedding's funny. I don't think I ever saw that before. But it's really about the communication between them. Like, initially you see them and it's like, oh my God, they would drive me crazy because they're constantly talking. But they're perfectly, initially they hate each other, right? And then of course they love each other. But that was a cute movie as well. So we have the 6D here of the 5 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Cups. So here again is that 5 and 8 energy. The divine feminine playing with a couple today, but didn't find the feather they left, feeling sad or defeated, or staying out of the sun at 5:03, the Hierophant and the Empress, or counting to 5 anyway, instead of counting to 10. The divine masculine going within to where land meets the sea, the emotions left behind, all aligned in perhaps crazy 8 formation. At Batman, lost in space and can't find Will, Rob in Sun. All right, so with Batman lost in space and can't find Will Robinson, but Will, so there could be a Robin's son, or somebody's getting robbed. Maybe their son is a robber. So there's a lot of references here. So however that fits for you. At Batman lost in space and can't find Will, or perhaps a will to live, and then Rob in Sun, or Robin Sun. Bridging in the 5 of Pentacles, Hermit in the Mary Magdalene cave, above the group with broken crystals of interest, but how to use them, not yet on Pinterest. Pin, Terra, Path. And you know I have that technical drawing of the safety pin on how the feminine fills up from the sun energy or meditation, and that goes through her into the masculine, who's the back of the pin, and then the housing up top is what then vacuums the feminine side closed again when they're full, and then as the energy gets used up, that pin head, or the sharp part of the pin, falls out again from the head, from the housing. So again, Pinterest is coming up as pin of Terra, path, which Terra is earth, or passing sunshine around when it gets cold outside. Or is that what I wrote? Oh, I wrote icy instead of cold, but I was also getting key. So, or passing sunshine around when it gets icy, or when it gets key outside, or icy or cold. I'm getting K as well, so somebody's name K. When it gets K outside, or okay, or icky, or ice cold, or icy or key outside. That's coming up as the key, right? Because ice is like the feminine, it preserves. The outgoing divine masculine here is the 3 of Pentacles, the 3 Cups, and the Knight of Swords. Try working with Two of Cups. And Gaia of the Sea, sitting in a rock under a tree and passing messages in a bubble. Me and mini-me. The Knight of Swords message to the wounded warrior, or to surrender by Sagi at 512, which is the Hierophant and the Hanging Man, or seeing new perspectives, the wise one. At 512, combining work and social life and deliveries. Instead of the Four of Cups and grounding and integrating and mastering of love and bored of feeling sorry for self under a tree, might as well have some fun while sitting there with ideas to create. Choosing the flame from the top of the pyramid, only the twin flame, with 4 plus 4 on each side. So again, here's that reference to the 1 plus 4 and 44. The Divine Feminine expanding a bit outside, going within to light up the dark, playing with fire and light, the natural and the artificial, the hot and the cold, and grounding in mud in the woods by the creek or pond, wondering if they have enough energy to light up a bulb. Maybe they should start with a small Christmas bulb. Out of the sun, 2 are the 1. She facing the Two of Cups, with her face down in arms. He with back turned to the Two of Cups. He the third, but he is the third, sending a message to the wounded warrior, or the one of surrendering and leaving the 2 behind at work in a going away gathering. So the 2 he's turned his back to are a different Two of Cups than she's not looking at in front of her. But they're both a reference to the 2. She's not looking at the 2 in front of her, and he's got his back turned towards the Two of Cups. But that has to do with him walking away from a partnership, perhaps. The Divine Masculine here with the King of Cups, Scorpio, and Pisces complete and walking away. Scorpio in transition to the group or another dimension, and Pisces with the world by the balls. Ascending or splitting self 2 ways, but these also can reference children and their different personalities. Perhaps leaving the group and or the world that they've known in the ethers, perhaps, and curious about where land meets sea, and perhaps the beach. The bridge here is the transition portal, the crossing over, on break at the lens or shuttering of the thought, perhaps moving to the beach or leaving the beach house behind. The Page of Wands inspired to leave to the group or family, or leave the group or family. Perhaps a feminine or mother is pleading them to stay, or pleading not to be left alone with the group who are distant and low vibration. Or what will they do with his or her cave if they leave? Hermiting in the ice cold, perhaps 3 different people and or scenarios playing out at the same way at the same time. Sad and alone, in exile of the group, and leaving behind what no longer serves. 3 different scenarios there. The Divine Feminine has Pisces and Virgo on their side, and the Knight of Wands in the home. The Masculine has Pisces on their side, with the King of Cups, Knight of Swords, Wounded Warrior, and the workplace. Bridging cold and dark in Scorpio season, with 7 offices, or driving to the office, or Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine ascending to unity. A department of I am, the Emperor or 4 of flames, Henry VIII I am, which is so weird because Henry VII came up with Dante. Henry VIII I am, the Knight of Wands in a sweet spot, the 3 of Christ, the 3 of sea, and the Adept of thought, words, blind men and orphans, and war, as well as martyrdom, was coming up for the masculine there. So the overall number here for this one was 49, which is the 9 of Cups, the Get Your Wish card, self-satisfaction, happiness with self, being alone. And the horizontal pillars came up to 27, 0, and 22, which is the Ace of Wands, source energy or space, and the Fool. The other way, the verticals came up as 7, Chariot, 0, source, 4, the Emperor, 10, the Wheel of Fortune, 5 of the Hierophant, 8 of the Strength card or Dance, manifestation, the 2 3s of the Empress, and then the 9 of the Hermit. And the messages came up as the new passion for space and to source the Fool's journey, along with self-satisfaction. Sourcing the sweet spot, destined to the high vibration 5D connection, the Christ consciousness, and hermiting for self-satisfaction. The Chariot with space for the Emperor the high vibe emperor only, the Hierophant dancing with the Empress, or the Hierophant committing to dance at least, but dancing with the Empress, and the Knight of Cups happy with themselves in being love. And being very, very happy with self. So then we have the 3D 40-5D union that I did for you. And I'm going to turn the light on now. And this was at 5-5-5, which came up already. And 5-5-5, I think, comes up in the twin flame read in front of you as well. So this is the second physical union read at 3-4-5D for today. The King of Swords was the underlying energy, the Knight of Cups in the middle, and the Queen of Cups at the end. And it was interesting because the Knight of Swords was coming up as pilot, the Knight of Cups as being love, and then the Queen of Wands was coming up as Neith, the war god, the war deity. It's war and creativity. So the King of Swords offers love to the Queen of Wands here, perhaps. The incoming divine feminine is the King of Swords. Perhaps this can be someone you dealt with this week, or somebody legal or professional, or somebody at the bank. The Knight of Wands perhaps is Dante, and then the King of Wands may be someone else. Perhaps someone who helps you in a physical way, or perhaps financially. But also the names here that were coming up were also, Judy and Brian were also coming up. So finding self-satisfaction between 3D things and masculine energies. Purifying thoughts, or minimalist in thought, as opposed to necessarily minimalist in things. It's saying purifying your thoughts by being minimalistic in thought, while passionate physically, gaining much emotional satisfaction from moving your body around and releasing all that stuck energy. 3 kings come up here, as well as 2 knights, and 2 knights from here comes up to the 25th on the divine feminine side. And the 3 kings and 2 knights is the 32 of the journey as well, polarizing the divine masculine, so the divine masculine can be in their divine feminine. There could be brothers here as well, air or Virgo, passionate air or Saggy, and Leo on fire in celebration here. Sensei, lover, and shaman. So 3 different energies. And this was all coming up on the feminine side in the 3D. The sensei, so the karate master, or the thought master, the lover, and the shaman energy of the King of Wands. The sensei out of their senses, and senses B, C, D, E, right? DE is of E, which for me is energy, and then F2, which is expanding and contracting and staying in the middle, reflecting. So again, the sensei energy, and then the lover, who's out of their senses, and then senses B, right? Because sensei is sense A, but the rest of the senses. So the third one is that shaman energy of the rest of the senses, not the thought sense, right? Senses B, C, D, E, and F, too. So then we have the 3D of the King of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. The divine feminine walking Akashics. The crystal skull. The walking Akashics is coming up as the divine feminine is a walking Akashics record. The crystal skull was coming up as the skew with double L's, the 11. That the skew is aligned. And I was seeing blocks of merchandise. You know how they're on a big skew and all wrapped as they come in. And that could be some of the ships, you know, like the ship that got stuck in the Nile, or in the what the heck is it called? But anyway, off of the Strait of Gibraltar, where the ship got stuck. The divine masculine, stone-breaking plant, the infiltrator, the diamond in the rough, the breakthrough of offering time, money, and effort, a new life of contentment on the jetties or in a rock home, nestled in the mountain or cliffhanger, the hanged man, bridging with the twin flame, perhaps the divine masculine asking her father or her brothers for permission first. She with brains and he with balls, or she with crystal skull and he with crystal ball. 3D remote view of the world, able to see big picture together, or drive-in movie with Dalton. Oh, that's so weird. It looks like Dalton, but I wrote Patton. And so Dante was coming up again here. He really wants to come through here. 3D remote view of the world, able to see the big picture together, or the drive-in movie with Patton on the screen. So general Patton can come up, but also that can be Pattons that in general that are coming up, or Dalton, or Dante on the screen, or patent on the scene. Wide open vessels aligned in the eyes of Laura Mars, or Eisenhower, which is coming up as I in hour. The eyes of Laura Mars, or I in hour. The 4D here, is the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the Starseed. The Divine Feminine Knight of Swords, messenger of truth, with a 5D message for lovers, between a rock and a hard place, or a family tree. Me and mini-me, far above the world, living in a tin can. A wound that twins are usually siblings and share the same DNA. Or DNA is coming up as D, as in of in French, DE, not applicable. Or divine neutral activators, who do share history. The divine masculine starseed with big bomb to crown, or hail knocks him out, senseless, out of his ego, or has to start as a seed again, or implant in head, an epiphany about this, or Jefferson's starship, or third rock from the sun, erasing their memory. So again, abductions coming up here. Bridging with the Knight of Cups, infinity, and the green room, or heart, swimming laps in lieu of the 3D lap dance, or coffee cup. Being love, or proposal here in the middle of the bridge. And that was coming up like Steve and Miranda in the middle of the Brooklyn Bridge. I have to write abductions down here because that just came up. In the 5D here is the Four of Wands, the lovers and guidance. The union of the lovers and guide dance or guidance. The home of love and marriage. And rainbow fumes and Puff the magic dragon who lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Annalee. All right, so Annalee. All right, so they're just telling me the 4-year period is saying it's 21 to 24. It's not actually 2020, but to the end of 2020 perhaps. No, where does it start? So it starts this year at the 5-5. So it's 5 of 21 to 22, 23, 24, 25. So that 4-year period ends actually in May of 25. But it's most of the year in 24. So that may be why that's coming up as far as the 4-year period. So Annalee is coming up from Puff the Magic Dragon. So I looked up Annalee to see what might come up and what's referencing this. This was at 652, which is the Lovers and the Queen of Swords. And so I looked up the definition first, and of course there's no actual word besides names of things of Annalee, but Hana or Hona and Lee. So the name Lee is coming up again. And there's a couple Lees online right now, right? Because Cryon is Lee. And Lee and Sherry were coming up this week as well. But the Annalee Farm Center came up, and the address there is 7010. So there's the 7 and 1s, the 7010 West Moon Valley Road in Eagle, Idaho, which was funny because Idaho just came up the other day as Idaho. And that's 83616, which adds up to 24. Again, the Queen of Wands. Next to the star, so Annalee there is next to Star, the town of Star, and near Boise. And I was just getting boys E, near the boys and E of the energy, which is also the Elohim and the Eve energy. So the Hona energy means to sing. It's the rooster, cock, or mock. It also means to snore, female, his or her. And lee means protected cove or harbor, a safe harbor out of the wind, a sheltered place, water, facing away from the flow of water or air. Little, to lie, in order, or lay, it's not lying like not telling the truth, but to lay down. To lie, lay, or leave, to speak falsely, the egg, and to move. So the divine feminine here, divine feminine at the 1111 castle, the divine masculine guidance of the Sphinx and Buddha, bridging in a rainbow puff of smoke, or the ethers, which is the AE of the ash, which also means light in Pleiadian, according to Elena Denon. Bridging in a rainbow puff of smoke, or ethers, the AE being the ash of light, and then the THER. So the ash and the light's there in that place. I'll know when I see it, both home and establishment for lovers. I love New York. So that was coming up as well as Virginia is for lovers. And A to Z, which is Arizona. And their motto is Ditas Deus. The motto since 1912, which is the year the Titanic went down, and the Arizona Territory motto since 1863, which means God enriches according to them. But when I looked, and it's also from Genesis 14:23, which is the 14 of the Temperance card and the 23 of the King of Wands, again today. But it's also the Copper State, the Grand Canyon State, the Italy of America. So Italy's coming up again. And then Aztec and Apache State, so the American Indian energies. So here Deus comes up as well as Ditas. And Ditas means different things. It can mean to dictate, impose, or command. Dictation is coming up here for writing down, not to dictate like a dictator. And it means to say, to speak. I enrich. It also means identical. It means ditto. Mention, said, remark, expression, finger, toe, and proverb. And then I was getting, can you, like Eddie Murphy saying, can you say two? So, and I got, Patty Duke came up the other day, right? Two is one, the identical twins. So they're coming up again here too. That literally, Arizona's motto, Ditas Deus, literally means identical twins. And this is at 7:20, the 7 of the Chariot and the 20 of Judgment. The decision, the wake-up call, the clarion call. So ditto, to speak into, and of course that came up in Ghost as well, to speak into existence. And then Genesis comes up here. So it means, literally, Hana Lee is coming up as to sing from a protected place or cove or harbor out of the wind. And I was just getting Shrek again. But it's like, Puff the Magic Dragon, who's got his little cave over there, who, he went into his cave after he's lost his little friend, right? He went away and never came back. Like me and Mini-Me, that kind of energy of Puff. So it's 7:20 here. And Castle Rock's coming up here. So a castle in the rock, right? Where your home is in a rock, in the cave. So somebody may be looking for a home as well, or maybe actually wanting to build their home in a rock or a mountain. Identical twins at 7:20 with ditto, to speak into existence. Very profound energy here for that Arizona quote. From Genesis, which then was coming in as being broken down into the gene, and the sis, S-I-S, which is sister, but it's also suffering in silence. Of the 14 and the 23, the 14 of the patient angel, the higher love, and the 23 of the King of Wands, man of passion, the angel of the King of Wands, and sister act, the genie who's like a sister, inconvenient, nuisance, yonder, and Jean's other half, or Jeannie's other half. So Jean and Jeannie as twin siblings, the masculine and the feminine. And the DNA, chromosomes, and the gene were coming up here, obviously. As I come into being in living color, the cheek, the eye, and the socket. And I was just getting, what's the name of that movie? On the Island? Where he goes crazy, he's on the island, he thinks he's going to be able to get off, but he's actually in an asylum. Shutter Island. There we go. Shut the eye. So Shutter Island's coming up here. So I come into being in living color. So going from black and white into color. Getting color in the cheek, the eye in the socket, the eye, the eyelid, to enter, to take a shortcut. The eye and its holder, right? The eye of the beholder. The crazy 8 ball of wisdom, right? So that little fortune teller ball, the black ball there, of the crazy 8 was coming up, the 8 ball. The outgoing divine masculine of justice, the 6 of swords in the shadow. Feeling peace in dark emotions of the Queen of Wands, his inner feminine. So his, literally the way he sees his feminine side. The divine feminine with the King of Pentacles, crystal skull, Akashic's messenger of union. The divine masculine, Ace of Pentacles, with an offer of new life, of downloads to the crown and guidance from above. The bridge between them is the twin flames that they are love and lovers, choosing the path of proposing something smoky or steamy and colorful without fumes, or only after they're fumigated first. The divine feminine with no major arcana on her side, with a lot of people though, the King of Swords, Knight of Wands, King of Pentacles, and the King of Swords, and the home. The masculine has Aries, Taurus, Libra, and Capricorn, along with the Queen of Wands and shadow work. Between the masculine and feminine is Gemini lovers and or twins, the energy between them. And then the energy of the codes on the words were coming up as Adept of F, and take it the way you will. Adept of F, and then 9 of the C, and the Master of Flames were coming up as Pegasus, the Hermit of the Sea, which is Poseidon, Pegasus's father, right? Is it Poseidon or Neptune? I always forget which one, but that's okay. So Poseidon's coming up. Master of Flames is Puff the Magic Dragon. Or the Adept is off, and then the Divine Jews come up here as Jesus and Mary Magdalene, the 6 lovers of the sea of emotion, in underwater cavern, right? So they're building a cave underwater, deep into their emotions, or lovers of the shadow, or shadow grid, or web. And oh, what a wicked web we weave. With the Queen of Wands and her hands into everything and sticky fingers, the devil stole his heart, or shoplifted here. And I was just getting shop, like, you know how your kids make you things in shop? There's something about that too. Lifted and transported to another location, and or he doesn't have 5 o'clock shadow, or she has 6 o'clock shadow here. So I'm going to read that again. The Divine Jews, the 6 of lovers of sea, in the underwater cavern, or lovers of the shadow, grid, or web, with the Queen of Wands and her hands into everything, or sticky fingers, the devil that stole his heart, or shoplifted and transported to another location, or 6 o'clock shadow. So whether that's him or her, maybe someone has a 6 o'clock shadow now. And 6 o'clock is the double zeros of source energy backing up the 6 of the lovers at 7:35, which is the Chariot, and the Wounded Warrior, the 9 of Wands. So overall, this union read came up with the 22 and the Fool's Journey. This was very significant. There were very few numbers on this grid. And this is where I wrote down the Bluejays. And I was getting EJ in the middle of the Bluejays. EJ. And again, the Bluerays, comeuppance. Someone has getting their comeuppance. I was just getting something else. Was it comeuppance? Some kind of Muppet thing. Comeuppance? I don't know if there's a Camilla Muppet. Maybe that's their uppins. They're getting Muppetized. That's pretty funny. Or commercialized, you know, cartooned. So the union was coming up here. So today is October 23rd, 2021. Which is literally comes up as 23 is 5, 2021 is 5, and 10 is 2 5s. 2 5s. The 5 and dime. And the 555. Actually 4 5s here. Of the 37 to the 38, which is the King of Cups to the Queen of Cups. Or the 38 to the 39, which is the Queen of Cups to the Knight of Cups. Or 1144, or midnight, was coming up here as union. And then union was coming up as unconnect, but it's actually also the UN connect, right? The UN is supposed to be where everyone around the world connects and has a say. But also it comes up as you, and then capital N for me is Christ and the connection. So you are the Christ connection, the two Bluejays, and the Knight of Cups here. And 5555 with a lot of change here, which is coming up to 20, which is the final judgment, right? 4 5s. 4 5. And I just told you about the energy of 4 to 5 too. Brings up a lot of change, right? Going from very stable and boring to 5, like lighting a fire under your butt. That's the most difficult part, they're telling me, right? Because 5 to 6 is easy. It's going from vacation and excitement into the lovers of family. So it's more settling down and going into love. Whereas 4 to 5 is difficult because it's like that survival in the 4, right? Survival instincts, going from that to expanding to something more. And it's very hard, especially for someone who's stubborn or in fixed energies. So the Fool's Journey is the 22 overall. The horizontal pillars came out to 4, 0, and 18, which is the Emperor, Source, or the 0, and the 18 of the Moon. And then the verticals were just 0, 9, 0, which is the Hermit with 2 energies of Source or space between them. Then the 4 of the Emperor, the 2 of the High Priestess, and the 1 of the Magician, or 21 of the World. And then 0, 6, 0, which is again space around the 6 of the Lovers. And the messages were coming up as the Emperor who's over the Moon on the Fool's Journey with Aries and Cancer. So perhaps the Emperor's happy and over the Moon, but he's also over the false light on the Fool's Journey as opposed to the Wounded Warrior's journey. So he's now on the Fool's Journey. Aries and Cancer come up on that side, as well as the Hermit with plenty of space on the other side at 742, which is instead of the Wounded Warrior, it's now coming up as the 2 of Cups. The Hermit with plenty of space, the Emperor or house that's complete, where he comes full circle, and the Lovers now with plenty of space between them. So then we have within this, the King of Wands and Queen of Wands are both coming up and represented here, but there's also a Knight of Wands, which is coming up as Dante. So perhaps the King of Wands is actually a feminine who's really masculine. And the Knight of Wands actually wants to well, it can go lots of different ways, right? Because that can be 2 parents and a child. It can be that the wife has a boyfriend on the side. It can be that somebody's gay in the relationship. So the King of Wands, Queen of Wands, and Knight of Wands is very specific there. It means something. And then we have the King of Swords with the Knight of Swords. So it could be a father and child there energy as well. Or that was coming up as Pilot. And the Knight of Swords is the messenger of truth. Or the Knight in shining armor, right? Which is it? She on land and he at sea, swimming in calm waters, with service for 9 and diving deep. The 4D with 2 knights and a fresh new start, with a download from the Queen of Wands, or she is throwing stones. She mastered 3D, and he is transitioning now in birthing. The twin flames in 3D, the Knight of Cups lovers are in the 4 to 5D here. So they may just be talking about the choice of path, and the polarity is the 3D of the twin flames. Whereas once they get into the 4 or 5D energy, it's more of them being love as the Knight of Cups, being the lovers together. In the green room, steaming rainbow colors, or in the castle, watching the northern lights. It was very romantic here. I'm just getting again, I love New York, and I was thinking of my daughter. And it's so funny because my daughter's living with Adam, and I'm Evelyn, so it's funny that Adam and Eve comes up there. But she just got a puppy, and he's so cute. His name is Teddy Bear. It was so weird because I started to watch the movie, and the title came up in the credits, and the letters come up in pieces. So literally, as I'm starting to watch this movie after I just talked to my daughter, it says Ev, A, and Ted, and that's her doggy. It's just the synchronicities are off the wall. They're a lot of fun to deal with. All right, so now we have the twin flame read in front of you, which was cut and dealt from the Syrian Starseed deck at 840 to 41, the 8 of the dance, manifestation of dreams, and the 40 of the Page of Cups and the 41 of the Ace of Cups. So a lot of beautiful, innocent love there. And then at 849 to 50, which is the 49 and 50 of the single person getting all of their emotional fulfillment, and then the family energy of getting complete emotional fulfillment. As the seal of flames came up there, and also lames, or perhaps for some lame, but the seal of flames comes up here. The seal of flames, and then the lames were coming off there. So if you say seal off lanes, seal off lanes, stay in your own lane. There you go, there's a message there. The seal of the flames. So this is like, instead of the breaking of the seal for the 7 seals and the 7 trumpets, this is like a resealing. It's like sealing off the flames. Seal off lames. So it's saying stay in your own lane. But we also have lame, and a lot of fabric stuff was coming up. So sewing and the sewing industry or fashion industry may be coming up. Lames, but also lames is coming up as the lambs. So stay in your own lane, lambs, right? Because you're a target right now, which came up in the read already, right? That you may be a target, just like, not on purpose, but the collective may target their guides because they're just freaking out from their own insecurities and fears. So don't take it personally, stay neutral, and stay in your own lane, kind of stay out of the limelight. The seal of flames here. The sealing of the flames. I'm getting from the Muppet movie, the founder of the feast. My son loves to say it. He knows like every line from all the Muppet movies. The founders of the feast. There you go. The sealing of the flames. Stay in your own lane as the lambs. The sealing of the lambs. To stay in your own lane as the founders of the feast. As we are done opening ceremonies and let the games begin. From 9:09 to 10, there's that 9/9 gate again, which I started back in 2016. 9/9, 2016 is 999, into the 10 energy of the 910, which is that high vibration trill. And 9/9, of course, is completion, right? So September is a completion point, right? That's when everybody goes back to school every year. And the major arcana here were the Hanging Man, guidance, and reflection. The guidance card is the Hierophant and reflection is the Hermit. Before the read was the Indigo and Alchemy, which are the Magician and Temperance cards. And then after the read was Starseed, which is the Fool and the Fool's Journey. There were 3 cups, 1 pentacle, 2 swords, and wands. So we have 3122 there, which is the 31 of the 5 of wands, which can be conflict and battle, and competition, but also can be play and acting and the pursuit of happiness. And then we have the 22, the Fool's Journey again. The Queen of Pentacles, I just whistled, so Queen of Pentacles, maybe somebody likes her. And the Page of Cups, which is that innocent energy, also could be a message of love and puppy love. And I was just talking about puppy love. And before the read was the Queen of Swords. After the read, the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Wands. So those could be siblings together as well, or 2 fire signs, or it could be a couple as well, perhaps where the masculine is younger than the feminine. And then we have 1010 is the only double number here. Very high vibration, keep it high, stay in your own lane. 8, 9, 10, begin again and again and again. And we also have the 5 and the 1 as being very significant. The 1 of the Magician, the 5 of the Hierophant. 1 is also new beginnings and the masculine energy, and 5 is the center point, right? It is the change, it is the expansion. It is the halfway house I'm getting. To stay in the middle, right? Stay in your own lane. And remember I showed you the 1 card from the Journey of Love is where they're both swimming separately, but they don't need to come together because as they ascend, the space between them becomes one with them. They become one entity. So it's not like you have to get into the other lane to join them. That they merge together, just like the Y in the road, reversed. The Y coming into the 1 lane. So the messages were coming up here around, some of the other numbers were 58, which is the 4 of Swords, 13, the Death card, 45, the 5 of Cups, the Grieving card, the Purging card, 34 of the Energetic Exchange, and that's pretty much it. And then again, the 15 was on the code line from 10 and 5. So again, the 5 and dime is coming up. That high vibe change, the devil of the 15, which is also the shadow, your dark side. But remember, 15 is a 6 overall. It is the lovers. It's just one aspect of the lovers. The code line was all about manifestation and love partnership, and it was separated into ma, manifestation, and love, with P separated from partnership, so artnership. Taking the high road, destined to hang out and seek change or freedom, or the Hierophant, perhaps marriage and commitment, with the Queen of Pentacles reflecting the good half. Also 309 or threonine, the vitamin, may be coming up here. And destiny, again, is about the high road, the destiny of hanging out, or hanging out to dry, or the highway to heaven and hanging 10, perhaps on a surfboard. The students of freedom and change and expansion, with the Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, good half. No infestation type of love here in the art near ship, or in other words, Ma's housing. The fanny pack was also coming up here, as well as the kidney and emesis basins. So there may be some people who are vomiting or dealing with kidney issues or kidney stones. And salmon, red and blueback salmon, were both coming up here, as well as the camel, the male camel, and the boar, black and down, male camel, close, near. And yeah, the kidney and the fanny pack and the emesis basin. And salmon, red and blueback salmon. So again, the red and the blue regarding salmon, that might just be a reference to red and blue, but salmon could just definitely be coming up, maybe like that color of salmon, which is more of a soft pink red energy in between. And that was coming up. My daughter just sent me some of her headshots that she had to re-get because she had to shave all her hair off again. And there was one with a shirt that was that salmon color, so there's definitely something significant about that color. The underlying energy here is the 10 of Cups reversed. So this is this big card here under the little mini cards, and the underlying energy. And below the 10 of Cups reversed from the bottom up was indigo, alchemy, Queen of Swords, and 3 of Cups, all upright, going into the 10 of Cups reversed. Indigo, patient, merging with the Queen of Swords and coming together. They can't help themselves. Miserable without her. Home, connecting, and work of dreams, or co-creating, dream girl. Star, dreams, and healing, the Chariot of the High Priestess reverse, secret passion, implementing a plan to release self from prison and be with someone. Sneaking downstairs, or released from prison, happy to see each other, not reaping, or sobriety and withholding until they have released an actual partnership. Lovers reversed without sex and or sexaholic, breakup, or just no affection here, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, defenseless to the energies and or attack, or a man defenseless to the Queen of Pentacles reversed and releasing themselves from prison, whether that's your own prison of thoughts or an actual prison as well. Worth waiting for can come up here, as well as a bit of passion here in the avoid dance, in need of space and walking away, in need of attention or a bad reputation, attention-seeking behavior, but under the radar, but no more sleazy sex coming up here, and feelings of bliss. No more going to the country or farm to have sleazy sex, or one night or one day stand in a chair and leaving them then high and dry afterward, touching asses and stinky feet, or trying to keep her from depression or from walking all over kids or everyone regarding an addiction. And this could be an addiction of someone around the masculine or his own addiction. Following your dreams, and it can be on the feminine side too, but it was talking about, either way. So either the masculine or someone around him, or the feminine or someone around her. Definitely bringing up addictions here. Follow your dreams with 85, and beneath that was forgiveness with 96. And the 55 is the grounding of the union, because the 58 is the 4 of Swords, the 5D connection. And then forgiveness with the 96, which is the grounding of 69, which is that offer of new life, time, money, and effort. With withholding, dysfunction, and playing hardball with the family, business, or community, that can be the legacy of the world as well, and their dysfunction or loss. Working out family finances or financial issues, And then puppy love also coming up with the Queen of Cups reversed, where the Fool is free from the Empress reversed, or lack, or the Page of Cups is freeing themselves from 3 generations of bad behavior of feminines I was getting here. At 11 o'clock, a lot of source energy backing up justice for all. So 3 generations of bad behavior at war with uncomfortable emotions of escapism. So this could be in somebody's family. So you'll know who it is we're talking about because they have addicts all throughout their generations. Right? So a mother, daughter, and granddaughter, or father, son, and grandson type of energies. We're coming up as all having the same issues. 11 o'clock here, breaking free, which is like the 11th hour too. Breaking free to escape and help someone trying to escape from themselves. Took down the field perhaps and saved the day. And that could be an addiction too, right? Being the savior. Cleaning up a mess. And that came up in the sexual addiction movie. Was a doctor who, like, he wasn't emergency medicine, but he did say that he was like George Clooney, right? On ER. Maybe it was the ER. So took down the field and saved the day, cleaning up a mess. Uncomfortable in the emotions here and wanting to beeline out of there. Found a way out to end an emotional cycle in a connection of release and bliss now that the worst is over, to follow your dreams. The Page of Wands is upright and the Page of Swords is upright, not coming together with the 10 of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or there's just no joy between these 2 children and this family. These can be messages as well, the Page of Wands and Page of Swords. So this could be, if they're messages, this 10 of Pentacles, family, business, or community doesn't get the messages. They don't fit, or the messages don't make them happy, they don't like them. Or these are just 2 kids who are not coming together with this family. There's no joy in doing that. So then we have no options going forward here. Yeah, after this read is the energy of no options, but to walk away, feeling shamed or guilty, and walking away from this energy of their tail between their legs. Sunshine, justice of soulmate and synchronicities, and the 5D connection of sudden events, epiphanies, and or energetic exchange, right? Blowing their top, their crown, their cover, their mind, suffering in silence or dealing with the sister or not sleeping or stressed, post-war at night, or with Cancer energies here, whether it's a person or the disease. The recent past here is the Page of Cups reversed, a rejection, where they're vulnerable and shy or out in the cold without option, confused about laying to rest or taking a break, about the 5D connection with sunshine and exposing all. The Page of Wands reverse is frustrated, uninspired, and in need of peace, and sexually frustrated. The Page of Swords is upright, leaving a message defenseless to the energies without excuse. The Knight of Wands is always there coming into the rescue, but the Page of Cups reverse is not taking the bait this time. They are withholding, right? Because that's their addiction. The foundation here is the Hanging Man upright, hanging out and walking away. The Fool is free from the King of Swords with new information coming in and clarity, but that also is a double-edged sword because it also throws them off balance at the same time, needing peace of mind in a bold move to ascend. So as you all well know, each time we expand, new information or details come into us, which causes change, which is the trigger, which is the hard part, right? In letting go and allowing the change. And then that throws you off balance, which is why you don't like it, because you need to be thrown off balance into the odd numbers in order to be brought back into the even number again. And then you feel better again. And know that it all works out in the end. So if you know from the get-go that going through this change might just be a little uncomfortable, the less you resist it, the better it will be for you, as long as you're resonating with it and you know in your heart that it is right for you. The central energy is the 5 of Cups reversed, getting over loss and regret, in need of peace, with justice presenting truth. Presenting truth to a divorcee or someone who thinks outside the box, or in a broken contract, divorce, or leaving behind a religion or establishment. The sealed divine feminine, presenting this truth to a sealed divine feminine or to the world, or perhaps to a Pisces here. The King of Wands is reversed, so he could be tired, he could be sick and tired and angry, he could be abusive, he could be an addict, he could be jealous and insincere. No telling the truth to Taurus reversed, Pisces upright, or telling them that the divorce is done now, at 11:53, which is Justice and the Knight of Swords, which can be the messenger of truth or knight in shining armor. But it feels like trepidation about telling someone the divorce is final, because this could be someone with addictions who blows their stack or gets jealous and freaks out and does illegal or immoral things. The challenge being the Queen of Pentacles reversed, being in conflict or battle with unhappy family or an emotional lack of fulfillment here, in need of self-love and inspiration, where there's frustration and overwhelm under the radar and letting go, perhaps not always showing that, right? To be the magic manifester, right? There's a lot of pressure to be the manifester, right? If you have a high stress job, I worked at University of Penn for 25 years. You can't go to work not on. You have to be energized and well taken care of in order to perform when you're working in life or death situations, right? So this is under the radar, letting go, in order to learn how to be the magic manifester without being stressed out all the time, right? The doctor or savior energy of grounding and integrating and mastering the King of Pentacles, right? The one who has all the answers, the one who has mastered all 4 of the elements, right? The self-satisfaction at this point actually comes up as arrogance, because he's got a bit of a snobby look on his face, right? He's a really good person and he takes care of other people, but he also wouldn't stoop down to hanging out with certain kinds, okay? He's got a bit of an elitist energy there, right? And snobbery. So there's big love at work, getting out of an energetic prison, and the King of Pentacles superhero in a breakup, or just no self-love and healing. Forgiving, withholding, saving for a new life, with patient angel, sharing, or settling out to heal and forgive. In a divorce, or the Hierophant reverse, which can be a Taurus reversed, or again, any kind of breaking away from the traditional norms or societal norms, away from an establishment, a religion, or the powers that be, away from the Hierophant's weaknesses, or divorce and ego death. Now, crowning here is the Eight of Wands upright, energetic exchange, with Atlas in the weight and the world, with the Hermit shedding light upon it. Depression with the Queen of Swords, standing up for themselves, and then hightailing it out of there. But I'm also getting dainty and daily. I'm getting, what's the movie with, shoot, what's his face? Is Auda in the title? I know it's on Netflix right now too. And I'm blanking out on both of their names. You know, the guy from The Shining, Jack Nicholson, thank you. And then, and why can I never remember? Is she? No, it's not Jodie Foster, but it's reminding me of Jodie Foster. But anyway, oh, Something's Gotta Give. That's what I'm thinking of. So something's got to give is coming up. So there's something around that energy that comes up here, or just something's got to give. So the Queen of Swords upright, standing up and hightailing it out of there, because something's got to give. At 12:03, which is the Hanging Man and the Empress, destined to heal, Virgo upright and Libra upright, and Aquarius reversed here. The Four of Swords is upright in the silencing of the Lamb, so that's why Jodie Foster came up, I guess, at 12:04, which is the Hanging Man and the Emperor. And this sister, or the Suffering in Silence, with the Knight of Wands rushing in to save the day, and the Queen of Wands now left behind to surrender her wounded warrior, getting caught with their pants down, or in the woods, surrendering, or on break with Atlas, suffering in silence, or sister stressed, or not sleeping, purging, and the Knight of Wands and Queen of Cups leaving the wounded warrior behind. All right, so that could literally be leaving the Queen of Wands behind as the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Swords in need of big inspiration here, with the Queen of Wands reversed, out for blood, and the Page of Cups reversed, rejected, or could be a spoiled child as well, in a nightmare of tripping up over and over again, or messing up and never taking accountability, and needing to use their intuition more, not relying on their parents or another person to make all their decisions for them. Discernment also coming up here, or a secret passion at night. And this is about letting your children or other people with addictions today figure it out on their own. Because when you pacify them, that's why they become addicted, because of course they get used to it being easier for them. They're not going to want to then give it up. or a secret passion at night, sudden jealous rage, and a big wake-up call at the full moon, or with Cancer about pulling in the Empress reverse energies, which is lack, the wrong kind of attention. So what are you doing that pulls in the wrong kind of attention? Or running away from the Empress reversed, who's very judgmental, or lying, cheating, and stealing from the Empress reversed, who's in lack, or has poor judgment about who they let into their life. Taurus reversed and Aquarius upright come up here, all water signs too, with Pisces reversed, and then there could be like a Scorpio Sag energy and Taurus Aquarius energy who are settling out and or water signs running away from the Empress reversed, judgment, announcement, wake-up call, or who was yelling at them all the time, or waking up the dead, or the clarion call warning that the Red Cross is rushing in and it is not free, you know. Soon coming up is the Nine of Swords, hiding. Instead of hide and seek, it's coming up as hiding and hiding, with no one seeking here. Conflict and coming together with the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy or overindulgent family that's just too much, with petty arguments, too much back and forth, or phone calls, or about breakups and or family interference, and spending every last dime. Pushed to the limit and settling out with the Emperor reversed, who's recovering from loss and regret, in need of peace or a place to stay, with the Page of Pentacles, opportunity, invitation or research, or a good student or internship here, with Aries reversed, perhaps Taurus reversed and Virgo upright too, as the twin flames seeing themselves as the guidance card reversed, so not guides, right? Or they have a lack of guidance, or no guidance and in need of guidance, or the Six of Cups energy of just two innocent children who want higher love, the patience and the angel, the sovereign or sovereignty here of the two kids in love, very pure innocent love, period, of the patient angel and the sovereign, that they don't necessarily want to be your guides. You're your guide, and they are their guide. And of course you can take guidance from other people, but you have to learn to connect to your own guidance. And this is, again, you need to step away to allow people to figure these things out, or they may never, and then they fall into addiction. So that's the message around addiction today. The after death, and again, it's coddling people, right? So people who are too loving, right? Because they're allowing people to walk all over them, basically. And what's the word I'm looking for? And, you know, I'm just blanking out on the word, but encouraging their addictions, right? So feeding their addictions. So after death, near death, or the worst now being over, with the bliss of presence or being present and gifts, needing strength and courage and or good health to be the King of Cups, which is also that unconditional love, in mastering unconditional love and working to align with sovereign and or your own sovereignty, or perhaps helping somebody else with their sovereignty. The Taurus is reversed, or in a divorce, a break in contract, religion or establishment or societal norms, with Scorpio reversed and Sag upright and Leo reversed here. It is safe to love, true love, that yes, this is a romance of a lifetime and very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is the Ten of Swords reversed, bliss, with the Knight of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Swords upright, implementing a plan together. Detoxing chaos and control, right? Maxwell Smart's agency is control, and their enemy is, or nemesis is chaos. The Page of Swords stepping it up to hit it out of the park. In a sudden event, explosion, epiphany, or sexual exchange, blowing their top, their cover, their lid, their crown, their mind, or insane, blissed out, with the Capricorn reversed and Scorpio upright, and block here being reflection of the Hermit and getting over the past at 1229, the Hanging Man, and the Three of Wands of being present in the moment, or the gifts of the moment, or your own gifts. The Knight of Swords, seeing those new perspectives. Knight of Swords reversed can be verbal abuse, the silent treatment, post-war trauma, and PTSD, all coming up there at 1229, with love, partnership, and manifestation. The Nine of Cups, the Get Your Wish card, being happy with self-satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. So it's coming up. And getting wish by being present in the moment and to your own gifts. Sexual abuse here, or the tease. The arrows of love, the energetic exchange and frustration, not being aroused or overstimulated, unable to conceive or understand. The Knight of Cups reversed, jealous, that the King of Wands reversed received an invitation, or has a student, or a one child who's jealous of the other. With the King of Wands reversed, who's tired and sick and tired, or out of control, or hothead, all pumped up. The Fool is free to leap and receive information to the Crown, as final judgment and settling out, to heal and forgive in divorce or from marriage, religion, establishment, or ego death, or bad health or health care, or perhaps a sick pet or child, or sick of doing kids' chores or passing them back and forth. In energetic exchange with the Ace of Wands reversed, or no flame at all, free to leap, the Knight of Wands upright and the Queen of Wands reversed, from the fire into the pan, as someone's partner obviously is not heterosexual there, as the Divine Masculine's heart is opening up to both sides of himself, the Knight of Wands upright and the Queen of Wands reversed, hanging out with both, or kids, or sibling, calling it as it is, or talking about growing up with the same mother who's always yelling or on the rampage, and having to keep it all in and be the patient angel, sharing or settling out in order to heal and forgive, with Taurus reversed and Leo reversed, Aquarius, Sag, and Aries, and Capricorn all upright here. Lots of fire. Unhappy family or lack of fulfillment, hanging out or hung out to dry, in divorce, breaking away. Alternatives, spirituality with lack of guidance, where the worst is now over and the bliss is in, with rejection, vulnerability, or a baby crying, or the crybaby, getting over the past or childhood, and challenged by the Queen of Pentacles reversed, who's hiding and reflecting an energetic exchange that may be abusive in nature, with Fool free, or Aries or Sag to the rescue, and the Queen of Wands reversed, letting go of the money, the cave, or the hoarding, to hang out, or to be hung out to dry at 1246, the Hanging Man, and the inner children of the Six of Cups, the loving, innocent ones. The Magician Alchemist, the Queen of Swords, coming together to end an emotional cycle of unhappiness of the family issues, endings that are way overdue, rejection and vulnerability, and the Page of Cups reversed, trying to find a way out of there. Hanging out to see a new perspective and be wise, to get over loss, regret, the past, and yourself, and challenged by the Queen of Pentacles reversed, Taurus, or perhaps a Capricorn, in energetic exchange with lots of back and forth, where the circle of trust has now been broken. Divorce, lack of guidance, hiding, stressed, suffering in silence, or sister, or no sleep, now that the worst is over, or in the bliss state, with the Hermit, or reflecting, the state of the union address, without flame, in need of passion, not abuse, at 1255, which is the Hanging Man and the Truth of Excalibur, and a fresh new start for the Knight of Wands upright and the Queen of Wands reversed, and the Divine Masculine's heart now opening up and letting go, seeing another's perspective. So, and that's important, right? Because the masculine is one. He's about his own lane, right? He doesn't need to see another. But his inner feminine is the mediator. That's the two, the one who sees both sides. The feminine is the masculine and the feminine, whereas the masculine is just the masculine. So it's important that we bring in a lot of feminine now, right? Because it's always kind of been 2 to 1 with the feminine with masculine and feminine, but the masculine with masculine, so it was always masculine-sided. So now we're bringing the feminine up to equal the playing field here within both of them, as purging sexual abuse and addictions, verbal abuse, physical abuse, Scorpio season of jealousy and life or death situations, or the ER, and shit or get off the pot, transformations here. So I said earlier in one of the other reads, lots of breakups were coming up there suddenly. One side comes together to drink and be merry, but the family life is very unhappy. The other side pushed to their limits, giving too much, and now bad health, or unable to keep it up, needing to recover. Or after a lot of unhappiness, after sexual exchange that sets them free, but perhaps a lot of guilt and shame about that, to deal with the Knight of Wands upright and the Queen of Wands reversed, which can be children, and open his heart more to see a different point of view at 1:01 a.m. I am that I am. Seeing a different point of view. Okay, so let's pull a few cards for you guys. I really liked today's read. It was a lot of fun. It's 3:59, so the minute before 4, and it's 1:55:05. It was just at the same time. So 01:55:05, the 55 of Excalibur, the truth, the Ace of Swords, the 1 of the Magician, and again the 5 by itself is the Hierophant. The commitment to the truth and to the Magician embodiment. All right, so what's coming up from the Animal Spirit deck? Oh, I forgot these cards. Let me shuffle them in. It got kind of dark outside. I didn't notice it being so dark earlier. Maybe it has been, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't notice. It's 4 o'clock on the dot right now. The Emperor, a lot of source energy, which is also the 40 of the Page of Cups, and we have the Elk. So that's the hothead energy of the Emperor. So again, stay in your own lane, little lambs. The hothead is out in the collective, all right? So they may not mean to attack you, but some of you guys out there might feel attacked by people as they awaken, and that could even be your twin. We have the L coming up here, right? This could be the masculine, because he's waking up and angry and perhaps not understanding what he's going through. And again, coming outside of the collective or leaving a group, leaving a family type of energy there. And then we have the dragon watching out for everybody, so don't worry, right? And this is also the energy of the solar plexus of having confidence in yourself, keeping an eye on everything, but, you know, staying out of the fray. And then we have the butterfly here too of transformation, right? Because they're still weak here, right? So when you're weak, you tend to get triggered more easily. Even though you've gone through the full transformation, there's still a little weakness here. Okay. I'm getting the eye of the tiger for some reason there. Oh, as the lion comes up. That's funny. All right, there's another little group that wants to be seen. The lizard is at the bottom of the deck, all right? Dear one. Dear one. The lizard is at the bottom of the deck. So that reptilian or lower vibration energy might be coming out in people right now, getting triggered in their root chakra, their sacral chakra, sexual wounds, safety and security wounds, and then the confidence wounds of being told you're a crybaby and things like that, right? So all of those lower chakra wounds coming out with a big bang in Scorpio from the collective awakening and displacing all of this dark energy that we're affected by, right, as it gets pushed off the earth, because Gaia is purging too. And then we have the solar plexus needing to keep our confidence, stay in the middle at the yellow, right? So we can kind of understand it all, but yet stay at a higher vibration, this is very much higher self energy, kind of being your own guide, right? With your eye on the tiger, the eye on the prize, and know that it's not permanent, right? And there we have ES and Doctor was coming up here, which is, for me, they're my initials, but so it's referencing the Divine Feminine, but also we have ES of the S of Sophia and the Divine Sophia. And then Dr. Butter coming up here. Oh, Buttercup Yellow is Mary Magdalene. Oh, look, Mary Magdalene. That's so funny. Dr. Buttercup Yellow. Let's see what else is coming up here. So the Elohim is coming up of the feminine and the masculine. The feminine within the masculine is vulnerable, and that's why they explode, right? Because when they feel into their feminine and they feel too vulnerable, they flip back into their masculine and explode. That's why that happens, because they're scared. They go too much into their feminine and not used to it. So again, this is the awakening of the whole collective. It is sealed. Again, it was opened and it was sealed shut again as we're trying to contain the light so the dark stays out of the Earth's atmosphere. Right, and the dragon isn't, in this deck, is not about the reptilian energy. It's about the dragon within you, your higher self energy. And I was just getting Shutter Island again, too, right? And Shutter Island was all about someone going crazy, that you're not crazy. And then here we have the Dr. Buttercup Yellow, Mary Magdalene here. So it's about the feminine being the wounded, the masculine feminine, right? She's in her not her wounded warrior, but in her warrior mode, because she's already healed that part. But she's probably still working on some of her feminine wounds as well. So remember, just because you have a lot of feminine doesn't mean your feminine is a healed feminine. So there were wounds that you were clearing on the feminine side and the masculine side. And so we're still weak in transformation, even though they've transformed completely. Oh, look, they're confirming to you that this is a dragon, not Draco. So the dragon is Draco with Christ energy. Okay? So the dragon is not Draco. There is a difference. And there are reptilians who are of light. Okay? So not all of them are dark. And there's a lot of human who have reptilian energy in them. It's part of our DNA as that lower vibration human here. All right? So again, it's about not condemning anybody, the dark or the light. It's about seeing it and understanding what's important to you and what's not important to you, what feels good and what doesn't feel good. But again, you can make judgments for yourself, but it's not up to you to make judgments for anyone else and their choices in this life on how to expand or how Source wants to expand itself. And there always needs to be that trigger in order to expand. We have there's something else that wants to come here. Leo the lion. There's a face-off here between two masculine energies here. All right, so it could be masculine within a feminine, and the masculine who's being a hothead right now. And this can be the feminine warrior here who has to hold her own while he goes through this. Even though she may still feel some weakness too, right? And then the dragon's right in between them. It's like the middle. It's the solar plexus because the twins are connected to each other. It's like your higher self is in both of your solar plexuses being the referee. While the lion has transformed and the elk is part of the collective awakening, okay? And then there's the monkey in the middle, is the dragon, is the solar plexus where you connect the solar plexus to the heart portal of the cord between the masculine and the feminine here. Right, the feminine over here, the masculine's over here, and then there's the solar plexus. So the yellow again is coming up as very significant here. It's not to drop your energy, it's to stay in your confidence, allow the energy to rise to you, but at the same time, don't push your energy really high, which will be really triggering for others right now, right? Because your energy fluctuates, you're not always at the same energy. So don't lower your vibration, but don't purposely try to make it really high, especially when you're around people who may get easily triggered. That's the message I'm getting. But also is getting, lamb, stay in your own lane as much as you can. I was just getting someone on the lamb as well. Okay, so those were coming out. So that's the masculine and feminine type energies. And then these three also want to be seen. This is the underlying energy. So the crow is there too with the deer one. And it's like they're protecting this lizard, right? So don't condemn someone just because you feel like they have a reptilian energy in them, right? Because there's a lot of humans have reptilian energy in them. We have the deer one and the crow who's standing guard of the collective awakening, along with you guys. They're looking right at you. Yes, you. This is you. Regarding this energy. Right? It's as with everything else, it's always about seeing both ends of the spectrum, the polarities of everything, and keeping it in the middle. It is not for you to make other people's decisions or judge them, right? And you shouldn't be judging yourself either. You certainly can make decisions for yourself. You have to make decisions for yourself. You're a human being. That's part of your lower vibration. You have to do 3D things. But other than making decisions for yourself, you shouldn't be making decisions for others. Of course, we guide our children as according to their age and being appropriate, right? Because we have to get them through to an adult age where they're still alive in order to make their own decisions. So people who can't make decisions for themselves is one thing, but for someone who's perfectly capable of making their own decisions, you need to allow them to make their own decisions, even if you see them as wrong or bad decisions, right? If someone explodes and freaks out or quits or gets fired, right? We always see them as bad decisions. but maybe it's not. Maybe they had to experience that in order to have their highest good. And only the source energy knows that. And you don't have to call it God. The collective energy is the energy of everything in the universe. And the collective energy of everything in the universe obviously is wiser than one person. So, like, who's smarter, right? The human brain or the collective energy? Of course the collective energy is smarter. So that's the faith. If you have faith that the energy of the world has your back, then you will go much farther than trying to insinuate or push your agenda. Because the universe is working in your favor. And we as humans always are getting in our own way with frustrations and fears that block that energy. So I guess they wanted me to bring that up again. So that was just the underlying energy. But these three wanted to be seen as well coming up. We have the mouse, the raccoon, and the frog. And they're very vulnerable type energies here, right? They're in a lot of dark energy. And the frog, even though they were in clear energy here, all of a sudden the rain started coming again. Here comes that rain again. What are the words? So I'm getting that song. So you can listen to the lyrics in that if you want. Right? So afraid to go back to the old way of falling into depression, right? Because if they really feel into their energies, they were never happy. They were just acting happy, right? Because they're trying to fake it until they make it, but not addressing any of the real issues, not addressing the entry wounds. And so no matter how much they clear, the dark energy keeps coming, but we're also purging these out. They're being displaced by the light. So there is some sediment which keeps falling back into the atmosphere. So we are still being affected. And these guys never got out of it in the first place. This one does have rainbow energy all around them, but it's not strong enough to get through this, to cut through this dark energy for the mouse. And then with the raccoon, they don't even have any colorful energy around them. They're just lost. There's no color. They still have their mask on. They don't even feel like going through the trash anymore. They're not seeing the treasure in sales or anything like that. And then the frog. Mora. I'm getting, like that military. Hoorah. And that's the scent of a woman again. Oh, blinded by the light. Wrapped up like a deuce, because deuce came up here too as the 2 in Arizona. Wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night. There's the ones that are really struggling, like, have compassion for them. They know not what they do. They're really inundated by the dark energy right now. And there's the ones who are struggling and seeing no way out of this. If I ever get out of here, gonna give it all away. So giving it to charities. If I ever get out of here. I'm getting the raccoon could be somebody in jail, literally. And that's why there's no light at all. There's no light at the end of the tunnel because they have to stay in there for a certain amount of time. And everyone around them is dark energy. It's really hard to keep it clear. They just can't. They've given up on trying to keep it clear because there's so much dark energy around them. Morocco's coming up. Oh, look at that. Morocco? Is there something in the news about Morocco? And the frog to prince. And I always talk about the olive trees in Morocco because they're the ones with the really strong ingredients that are good. So coon is coming up, Morocco, the frog. I'm getting Rocky Raccoon. Rocky Raccoon went back in his room only to find Gideon's Bible. Rocky had come, equipped with a gun, to shoot off the legs of his rival. His rival, it seems, had broken his dreams by stealing the girl of his fancy. So there could be something like that. So there may be situations where the masculine's partner cheated on them, and there was something bad that happened, and he went to jail for that. That can be on the feminine side as well. But any which way, somebody did something that put them in jail. And I'm getting the, oh, look at that. They're so good at this. the Green Mile, right? The one in jail with no, they're on death row. There's the mouse, Mr. Bojangles. And then there's the frog who's still working on becoming a prince. It's like this guy who's on death row, the guy who's with Mr. Bojangles. He was on death row. But yet he still found hope that he could be a prince. Now that he's got this act with this mouse, they could make money together with all of his tricks. It's kind of like that energy of Michael Jackson and Ben. Ben, the two of us need look no more. I didn't even realize it's over 2 hours. Sorry, guys. It was 2:10. And the flame just went out. That was Barbara Jean. That was Marilyn Monroe. The flame just went out. That was her. And it's 4:15 on the clock, which is the Emperor and the Devil. And Kennedys were coming up this week. So Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe are coming up. And 2:10:53. 2 is a high priestess and a turn for the better. And 53 is the knight in shining armor. All right, so there's a lot of crap that's coming up, you guys, this month, right? It's Scorpio. There's going to be deaths. There's going to be suicide. There's going to be a lot of breakups. There's going to be coming clean, coming out, freaking out, doing bad things, getting arrested. Remember to have compassion and just stay out of the line of fire. What's about Morocco, though? Something about Morocco coming up here. I feel like, too, this is, I don't know. They look very young here. They don't feel like adults. But this one is less in the dark than these two are, right? This one sees a way out. These don't. I was getting Mo, but not Manny, Mo, and Jack, the Three Stooges. MRA, somebody's getting an MRI or an MRA. I'm getting like a collective MRA. So you're getting a collective MRA because of the injections, right? Because as opposed to an MRI, you don't necessarily have to have contrast or anything like that. And this is like getting radiation, getting magnetic, becoming magnetic with injection. That's what I'm getting for the collective consciousness. OON. Carbon copy. Ra's carbon copy with a lot of source or space between the collective and Christ energy, the Christ or unity consciousness. It's putting more space between the ability for the human to be able to connect with the unity consciousness, with the field. And the frog, warts and all. No. More frog. More frog than prince. But the frog here is seeing a way out. But there may be others. And this may be showing you that this one didn't have it. These two did. And they're really struggling to ascend. And that's the energy that's coming up. I do want to pull up Journey of Love deck, even though it's getting long. But it's 2:14, Valentine's Day. And it was 10 to 11, which is a turn for the better and justice for all. On Valentine's Day there, it's 4:19 on the clock, which is the Emperor and the Sun, where the Sun comes out for the Emperor after we were just in the Emperor with 15, which was the Devil shadow energy. So the Emperor comes into the Sun by Valentine's Day. There you go. that doesn't mean that people won't come together before then. I just feel like you're in the clear by Valentine's Day as far as that kind of energy. All right, we have coming together the 66 of the Queen of Pentacles. And this is very much of like the heart and the engine and the printing presses and the heart pumping. Engines are pumping. And the 70 of Heaven, which is the 2 of Pentacles. The juggling act, the performance. Drawing in a crowd. All right, so just what I showed you in the beginning, those 3 cards. The drawing in of the crowd, the wound, the accident, the star, the center of it all. The collapse. I was getting the expansion, but then the collapse, and London Bridge is falling down was coming in too. Like it's the collapse of the old, the collapse of the shadow. The performance of a lifetime, I'm just getting. The performance for heaven on earth. I'm getting we are the world. So there's like, I don't know if there's musical groups coming together for the performance of a lifetime. They're just giving you the energy that your unions is like the epitome of that. Coming together of the 66, the Queen of Pentacles is being represented as the twin feminines because she's been through all the elements and she's performing or juggling, right? Or trying to protect people from what's really going on behind the scenes as the juggler there. As heaven on earth is coming in, and everyone's going to want a piece of that, right? Just like the wound, everyone wants a piece of the star, which can be a dangerous situation. Again, the wound, the infection, all of that kind of energy is coming up. Engines are pumping. And then we have the seed of the heart, the 25 of the Knight of Wands, that new passion to get going, to get moving. And there's one big question mark here in the seed of the heart. And there's a lot of very well-balanced energies right here. The question mark. And the dance of the planets, which, there we go. We have Paul and Linda McCartney here. I knew music was going to be coming here. So there's music, like a record. It's like Linda and Paul. This is Linda with her big, she used to wear those big wide vests, those long ones. And then Paul, and here's their record of being able to walk hand in hand through the storm, right? Because this is the vortex. The vortex is here, and this is the cyclone. They've learned to walk hand in hand through the storm. The dance of the planets of 56 of being in your knowing and trusting, having faith and being patient. When you have a question mark, the seed of the heart, it's always there. It was planted long ago. I'm getting the Emerald Order too. The 25 of the Knight of Wands, being in their knowing and keeping the energy between you. Then we have riding the wave, the cosmic wave here. Here's the feminine. And I'm getting the 2 swans here. Okay, she's riding the 2 swans because they're that picture of the beautiful relationship, the epitome of 2 swans' necks all wrapped and intertwined. The 60 of peace on earth, of the 6 of cups. Finding peace in releasing and being completely free and vulnerable, right? She's completely exposed. Allowing herself to feel all of it. Okay. And then the bottom of the deck is the Woman of Light, which is the 49, the Get Your Wish. Being happy with self-satisfaction, receiving the light, allowing it to all come in your beauty, in your divinity. And the Rings of Time of the old, letting go, the 44, the Rings of Time. Grounding, integrating, and mastering of love. Now it's time to just, instead of taking things step by step in a long, drawn-out process and getting old and being in a wheelchair, and Thoth energy, which is also has come up as the old, going more into the Metatron, as the Metatron separates from the Thoth energy, which is more of the scientific human mind, into the more of the Metatron of the etheric and the light, of just allowing it all to come in and having faith and trust and getting like information just from a light download as opposed to reading 5 books. It's all here for you. The 49, the Woman of Light, by receiving your codes and your downloads. It's all there for you. All right, so we know that Elk is a bit of he's a really good guy normally, great family man, great man, a provider and all that stuff, but when he doesn't get fed properly, he's a hothead and he can be really arrogant and mean. So keep your guys well fed right now, which is that advice. And then we have coming together. So that was Come Together Right Now. I don't know if that's Paul's song or someone else, but Paul and Linda are definitely coming up. Come Together. I'm looking in the wrong book. 66. And again, the 666 came up as well as June 6th, 2022. All right, this one says, you and another soul are coming into each other's worlds. It is a karmic destiny that is unfolding, an expression of a divine plan set in motion many lifetimes ago. The destiny may have a romantic purpose. It may have a sacredness that is sexual. It may have a sacredness that is creative, tender, and about learning self-esteem or courage. It may bring a gift of enduring friendship and loyalty, or be an expression of a passing flash of divine force that shakes your foundations and helps move you out of a situation which would have consumed your light with tediousness and playing small. The coming together is happening, however. Know it is of love. This oracle brings guidance. You're going to be moved by love. Whether it's long-term or fast and furious, it is love and it has meaning. Let it be what it is and do not try to force it to become what you think it must be. It has worth, as do you. Enjoy the experience and know that it serves your growth. Two energy patterns came together and shared a frequency in a field of possibilities. And there was resonance. Make sure you drink plenty of water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, and don't listen to me at all if you don't want to. Follow your own guidance and breathe. And rise and be love, you guys. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day. Bye.